Hey, soul family, star seeds, truth seekers, welcome back to the Intuitive Alchemist. I'm here again with you today to talk about a near-death experience that I had that was more significant to me than any others, but it built on the ones that I had before. So if you haven't seen the previous two videos, you might want to take the time to check them out. But before we get started, let's just take a minute to release any tension by taking a deep breath in through our nose, acknowledging that it's there, and then letting it go. Releasing it back to the universe. Feeling that trust, that deep oneness that we have with Source, the creator of all, guiding us through all things, through this entire existence. So I was on vacation more than a year ago now with my family. I was with my wife at the time and my two kids. We were staying at a family member's house and using their hot tub. And the four of us, and we were having a great time. When I went to get out, though, I remember immediately losing all sense of balance. And I remember feeling my spirit starting to vibrate. And if you've ever tried astral projection, you might know that one of the ways that you can do it is by kind of moving your spirit back and forth within your body once you can get really in tune with it. And I've only ever had limited success with that, but I could really feel it at this time as I was starting to lose consciousness, and then and what was basically turning into passing out, but it became so much more than that, because at that point where my spirit was shifting back and forth, I felt my consciousness pull out of my body, and I saw everything turn white and my consciousness pull out of my body. Now, I want to say that it is a concern to be careful of with hot tubs. If you get out too quickly, you can white out. But this felt like so much more than just that, and I'm going to explain why. So as my whole world started to dissolve, my body, and I no longer could feel the presence of my body. I felt the presence of my spirit more strongly than ever. And I looked, and as the world dissolved around me, it dissolved into a strong, powerful, golden light that was pervasive everywhere. Now, while I was passing out, I could feel my third eye resonating substantially, and that part of my spirit that was so deeply connected with it and my heart. And those were the aspects that I felt leave. Like I felt that was me, that was the real me. And then that part of me felt so much more real and alive, and like, okay, this is who I really am. That whole time I felt my connection to Source through my third eye, through what I realized was my spirit body. And I saw this golden white field of light all around me. I didn't just see it. I was it. I was intrinsically a part of it. And it was a part of me. And that incredibly strong sense of divine, unconditional love that I talked about when I had the near drowning experience was everywhere. I was one with it. It's that feeling that you get meditating, and when you connect to source through your third eye and through your crown chakra. As I was looking, feeling, observing across this field of golden white light, there were what appeared to be misty clouds among the light. But then there would be light that would be glowing within these clouds. And as I focused on it, I noticed that these lights would coalesce and form into these long threads. And there were these long golden threads all around me, connected to me, but then connected to many, many, many other points of light. And I realized that the golden light that I could see all around was connected by this web, these golden strands. And each of these points of light were glowing. And I realized that what I was perceiving, because I could feel it, was the oneness of all creation, of all of us. And I'm going to do my best to describe what I felt, but I mean, imagine just the most incredible bliss you could ever experience. And the knowledge that you're a part of it. Just that intuitive feeling. If you've done deep meditation before, you know what that feels like. That samadhi feeling. That oneness. I think I'm using that term right. Feel free to let me know if I'm not, but the amount of bliss that I felt was incomparable. Because that feeling of oneness with source that I felt when I went through the near drowning was everywhere and everything, all at the same time. And I recognized the truth, the deep, deep spiritual truth that we all know on a soul level, that we're all connected, that we are all one with the Creator, we're all one with the universe, and that we're manifesting this reality together. And we can do it for ill or for good. Experiencing this, like I did not want to leave. James Gilliland talks about the Plane of Bliss and others. I believe it's the 7th dimension or the 7th frequency, something like that. But I recommend looking at, their presentations to get a better, more detailed understanding of that. And I feel like that's what I was experiencing. The true oneness that we all share. No egos, no judgments, no schemes, no agendas. Just pure unconditional love. And I recognize too why we forget, like, this place felt like not only where I belong, but home beyond any stretch of the word. This was the place where we had all come from and where we can all return to. I remember not wanting to leave. But then I remembered too hearing what sounded like from what sounded like thousands of miles away. My wife's voice calling. And then I remembered that I had a family and a responsibility to them. At first I was thinking, oh, I don't want to go back. But I also felt that same presence, that same oneness, urging me to do so, needing to do so. So I could be there for those who needed me. And I was able to make the conscious choice to leave this experience behind. So I don't know how else to describe it. This truth behind, and return. And I felt my spirit. Everything started to kind of, it's hard to explain, but it felt like everything kind of shifted back together. And it was dark for a moment, not like a scary dark, but just I don't know, kind of like going through a tunnel, but it's hard to explain. But I felt myself going and rushing very quickly back to this world, back to my body, back to 3D consciousness. And I remember everyone being terrified at the time, like they thought I was dead, and they had been shaking me and trying to resuscitate me, everyone there. And I remember the incredible challenge of trying to relay what I had experienced. And unfortunately, I wasn't met with receptive ears at the time. But others in the communities that we're in these communities of spiritual growth and awareness and truth, have encouraged me to share this story, because hopefully it might be helpful. Maybe I didn't have the right audience initially, but those who have encouraged me had said, you might now. So I'm really grateful to them for encouraging me to do that. Thank you, all of you who have done so. In fact, I could even shout out some of them. Renee, who is visited by Fairies. I think we're going to have her on soon for an interview. And she's done an interview with Gypsymama. And Gypsymama is another one I would have to shout out and say thank you to for encouraging me. And another friend named Danny. All of you know who you are. And thank you so much for encouraging me to share this. And for those of you listening now for the first time, I hope that me sharing this is meaningful to you and helps you on your journey. We're going through so much right now, collectively. I know me personally, I'm feeling exhausted. There's a lot of talk about solar flares and major shifts worldwide. I feel like we are going to see military intervention very soon on a public scale, like we've already started seeing in Brazil. And for people who are, conscious and awake and wanting to bear in mind, the connectedness that we all share, it is so important to consider that and show that unconditional love to each other. Treat each other as we want to be treated. Remember the law of correspondence. And it's also important to remember that in some cases means standing up for the weak. Genuinely loving others isn't just letting them tread all over you or take advantage of you or your family or those close to you. It's so important for us to stand up for our loved ones, for ourselves, especially for our children. And there's so much that's been done, unfortunately, that is taken advantage of children. That's now coming to light more and more. So I want to encourage any listeners out there just to remember having a balance, of genuine, unconditional love, but also, standing up where you need to for what's right, for that love. Not to be a bully or anything like that, but simply to feel with your heart and your third eye what you need to do. If you see, harm happening, what can you do to make a difference? Now that we're awakening, recognizing our true power and coming back to an understanding of it, we can make a difference. And that's so important. I'd like to ask anyone who feels so inclined, let me know how this video affected you, if it affected you in any way. If there's anything you would like to share about experiences that you've had. What kinds of awakening experiences have you gone through to prepare you for this time? Because we've all chosen to be here at this time. We've all chosen to fight to free this planet. Egos aside, we are here to protect, to love, and stand up for one another. And that is truly what matters. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, or if it benefited you, if you feel like liking the video, I appreciate it. And if you want to help support my work, there's a link to do so below. But know that regardless, I'm simply grateful that you've been here to hear this story. And I hope that it serves you in some way. I'm just grateful for your time and to be able to share it. Remember your connection to Source, to the Divine, as we go through this transitional period, as the rest of humanity starts to be confronted with the truths that many of us have already been working through on our own. And remember to have compassion for those who are still on that journey, who haven't awoken yet, and for those for whom the information will be shocking that comes out. Remember to be gentle as well. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm so grateful. We'll be doing some more interviews in the near future, so look forward to announcements for those and more videos. Hope you all have a wonderful solstice holiday time with your family. Namaste to every one of you. Thank you so much for being here. And may the Creator's light be with you always, shining deeply in your spirit. Blessed be.